Hey out there, motherfuckers. Don't you pirates this show or the movie.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the excited new episode of Everything Horror Podcast. My name is Paul Dolsky, and I'm also with my lovely fiance,
Tessa Baker.
And joining us tonight is, well, you could say this great person, because he is a really nice guy, and he's done some pretty interesting things on top of having a really cool and badass mother. And on top of that, we got...
I got a badass cat, too.
Yes, and a badass cat that will claw your fucking faces off. All right.
That's right. He will fuck your shit up.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Todd Jenkins, also known as the writer, director, and editor of Cherokee Creek. Hello, Todd.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? That's a few things I did. We could go on for like the next 30 minutes of those jobs if you'd like. That would be the whole show. You're just like saying Todd Jenkins, prop master, Todd Jenkins, stunt guy, Todd Jenkins, camera guy, and gaffer, Todd Jenkins. It just goes on and on.
Well, Todd, so real quick, for people like Tessa and I and whoever else that is listening that doesn't really know you too well, can you give us like a little origin story of just who you are and how you got into horror?
Oh, gosh. I've been into, I guess it all goes back to being my aunt's fault. She started sneaking me these movies to come over to watch when VHS came out when I was a kid. And I remember sneaking over there on weekends, and they would show me, like, freaking Nightmare on Elm Street, and movies like that I wasn't supposed to see. And they would scare the shit out of me. And I'd have nightmares for weeks. And for some reason, I fell in love with being scared shitless, I guess.
Well,
and I was just really attracted to it. I mean, it's one of those genres that I don't get sick of, and it keeps me awake, because as I get older, it's harder to keep my interest in some of these movies, and the horror genre, if it's done right, it still keeps my interest pretty good.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, my first ever introduction to horror was when I snuck out from my bedroom and somehow managed to make no sound going downstairs. And I peeked into my living room, and I was watching a scene with the vampire with the lady on the table from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh yeah, she was up on the stone slab.
Yes.
Thing in the garden.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I probably watched.
Yeah, man. The horror movies are just a lot of fun, and I like the fans. I go to the horror conventions a lot, and I like the fans, and they just seem like a really good group of people. So I've always kind of been just drawn to that genre more than the others.
Yeah, and I mean, for somebody like at my age, which was probably 7 or 8, I would watch 10 minutes of it, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should be watching this, so I kind of went back to bed.
Well, I would watch the whole damn thing.
It's like, if I didn't have to go to bed, I guess, for school, I probably would have watched the whole thing. So, yeah.
I think at like 4 or 5 years old, I was watching and doing things that most kids don't even do that are like 14 these days.
Oh, wow.
It was a different world back then. I remember, I talk to kids now, I'm like, man, when we were like 5 years old, we all walked to school. Like, the entire neighborhood was walking to school. I mean, that was just the way it was. We got ourselves ready, and we dressed ourselves. We got ourselves to school. You know, now you got like 5th graders that can't get dressed on their own. So it's weird.
That's true. Well, that's because they're
the
always
whole thing. It's like, what's that?
That's because they're always looking at their damn phone now.
Oh my God, yeah, man. I as much as I love the things we can do with our phones, I think it's destroying us at the same time.
Yeah, I completely agree. But so for your first question, Todd, and I kind of wanted to ask this before getting into the movie questions, of course, but in real life, do you actually believe that there is something as real monsters out there? Like, do you actually believe there is like a real Bigfoot out there, or real ghosts and spirits and stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of the stuff we talk about in the movie, the script, but I mean, I'm not like a badass writer or anything. Most of the stuff in the movie is all based on us sharing our own real stories. Like in the campfire scene where we talk about the ghosts and stuff, that actually did happen to me. I was asleep in the bedroom with the cat on, next to me, and then the door kind of easily went and opened up, and I thought it was my wife was home or something, but nope, nobody was here, so it made no sense why the hell the bedroom door just suddenly opened all the way by itself. But yeah, I definitely believe there's stuff out there that nobody knows. I mean, everybody always wants to go, well, science says there's not this or that, but my God, I mean, every day they're discovering, a group of people living somewhere that has never even heard of, our current civilization, or a different fish in the ocean that they've never seen before. So I definitely think there's things out there that we may not know about that we can't explain, for sure.
Yeah, back when I was little, I used to go to a friend's house that lived on a farmhouse, and just like with you, we were watching like a scary movie with his bedroom door shut and stuff, and sure enough, guess what? That bedroom door flung open, and we had that son of a bitch locked and everything. So,
wow.
and we had it. We even tried to debunk it, but we couldn't, because if you ran up the stairs or even walked up the stairs to even get to my friend's bedroom, we could actually hear you no matter what. And then there was another door that was locked that somehow did one of those, like, you can go through this one bedroom to go to this other room or whatever. Well, that was locked, so that couldn't be it. So, and nobody was really in the house. So yeah, explain that one.
There's plenty of things that I don't think that can be explained, Everybody wants to say science proves this wrong or about this, that, and the other, but I don't think anybody knows what the hell they're talking about half the time. They just make up shit.
That's true.
There's plenty of stuff you don't know. And I have talked to a lot of people, over the years that swear that they've seen, a Sasquatch or Bigfoot and have different experiences, whether it be a UFO or ghost or something. So I mean, you can't sit here and discount all of these people. I mean, there's thousands of people who've seen these things. You can't say they're all full of shit.
Right? No, I completely 100% agree.
Because some of them are very educated people. So, I mean, if you're going to go trust this doctor or to work on you, but you're going to say he's a liar and you don't believe that he actually saw Bigfoot. So, I don't know. I think you got to believe some of these people that they're definitely seeing something out there.
What inspired you to write the script for Cherokee Creek, especially the opening scene with the kidnappers, which seems to not be on Amazon version or the iTunes version anymore?
Well, the kidnappers, the scene is in there. You mean when we kidnap the guy is still in there, but the opening where I did that anti-piracy thing is gone. And the reason, I don't know why that's gone. I think what happened is early on, I got this idea with me and Billy Blair, the guy that plays Vinny Blades in the movie, to try to do something that might go viral or be kind of fun for the fans if we would do some marketing campaigns that way. And when we did the limited theatrical run, we also did it, for the digital version, it was about piracy. But when we would do it in the theater, we'd be like, if you motherfuckers talk, we're going to fucking shoot you in the fucking face, and all this stuff. And we would have it going through all the different speakers around the theater. And after the screening, they said all the fans and people who came to the theater to see it were like, oh my God, we love those kidnapper guys. You got to do more and more of that to market the movie. And we'd love to see that on the digital version and the DVD version and all that. So my whole thing is Billy would come over and we'd put the mask on. And I said, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but whatever I say, we're just going to improv it, just go with it, and then we'll put that out and see what happens. So nothing we ever say is like written or rehearsed as far as the kidnapper stuff goes. It's just whatever comes out of my mouth at the time, we just go with it.
That's awesome.
So,
I had a feeling.
when people are getting offended or something, it's like, dude, it's kind of one of those things where we're offending everybody, even our fans. I mean, we call our fans motherfuckers. So I mean, you kind of got to be in on the joke and think it's funny. I mean, like, but obviously we I came up with that name, Butt Pirate, just pulled that out of my ass all of a sudden in the middle of one of my improvs, and I guess that pissed off some of the gay community. But we didn't mean it like, oh, gay people, you're gay if you rent the movie. We were just saying you guys are a bunch of fucking ass rapists if you're stealing our movie, basically.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, we didn't put that much thought into it, man. We're not like attacking, but whatever. We weren't trying to attack any group. We're pretty much just putting everybody down and making fun of everybody equally is what we thought we were doing. So, but our fans have never cared that we call them motherfuckers. They think it's funny. So.
Oh yeah, I was laughing. I was just like, whoa. Especially when you went into the whole butt pirate thing. That was funny. I was like, oh man, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know that they would be so offended by it, or I didn't know if you called somebody a cocksucker that was like a bad thing, but whatever.
I think we've all heard worse.
Yeah, I mean, if you're calling somebody a name that pissed you off, I don't know why you have to have rules on what you call them. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone steals from you or does something bad, you can't call them a motherfucker, cocksucker, or something. I'm like, dude, I will call you whenever I want to, and I don't give a shit if I offend you. Too bad. I mean, I'm offended by the word offended. I think it's stupid. To me, offended equals pussy, basically.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But yeah, so Todd, so for the next part of the question is how did you get inspired to write Cherokee Creek?
I couldn't find anybody else to write it for me, and I wanted. I think it came out of frustration as an actor. I've been trying to work as an actor for real serious over the last 5 years. I've been in the game for about 20 years, kind of playing around with different jobs and stuff. But I really wanted to take the acting serious. And one of the things you learn when you're wanting to be an actor is that they dangle these roles out in front of you sometimes, and you'll bust your ass. And even sometimes what people don't realize is actors, when you're auditioning for these movies, you're spending thousands of dollars of your own money traveling to meet these people and casting directors and doing auditions for them. And sometimes they'll be like, hey, we want to hire you for the role. Can you start next week? And you say yes. So you think you've got the role, and then the next week comes, and they found a bigger name, or somebody else came into play, and they have to like terminate you and let you go. And man, it's just devastating. So a lot of that had happened to me. I lost out on some really huge offers that they offered me the role, but then they retracted it at the 11th hour. And man, that just crushed me. And I was like, dude, I've got to do something on my own, because I want to put something out where I can show that I can carry a movie as a lead, be a lead actor versus somebody who's just in a movie for 2 minutes. So that inspired me to do Cherokee Creek. And then just all the bad movies I was working on. A lot of people have a nervous breakdown. People don't realize how hard it is to do a movie. They think it's going to be fun. And once it's done being shot, then the post-production begins. And that's where the real work is to see if you can make it through post. And a lot of people either have a nervous breakdown, get divorced, or run out of money. So the movies just don't get finished. And I was hell-bent on doing a movie, getting it finished, doing it to the best of my ability, and then getting it out. So I knew the only way that was going to happen is if I did it myself. I could go on for hours about that, though. I don't want to take up too much time talking about that.
No, that's fine. Actually, to kind of continue what you said, really, there, Todd, is how long did it actually take you to create your film and edit it down?
Well, the story was in my mind for about a year. I kept talking to a guy or two about writing that was interested in writing the movie, and these are guys I've known for about 20 years, but they seem more interested in doing stuff for themselves. Like, hey, we want to help you on this, but I got a call to go do this. I'm going to go do this now, and it just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And I was like, dude, you're too worried about yourself. I need someone to worry about where we're going to go. If you believed in this movie, this would be at the forefront of your mind, which it's not. So I was talking at the beginning of the movie. There's a guy his name is Terry Dale Parks, and this guy was on fire. I was working with him on some of his audition tapes, and he was booking things left and right. I don't remember if you remember the movie Olympus Has Fallen. He played the Army commander in that movie, and he's the guy that plays Cletus, not Cletus in our movie, but who's the other guy? Rowdy, the other hunter at the beginning. And he said, dude, I made a deal with my wife that I'm going to retire from acting, and so if you want me to do your movie, you better do it quick. So I was like, holy shit. So I kind of started, I had this outline for Cherokee Creek, but then I started really writing a screenplay. And the first thing, of course, was to get him knocked out. So before I'd finished the whole screenplay, I had those hunters part written, and I filmed that immediately before he retired from acting because I did not want to lose him. He was just really on fire, and I thought he would kill the role of Rowdy. So he kind of was one of the best things that happened to me because he forced me to have to get the movie off the ground, or else I just wasn't going to be able to put him in the movie.
When you finished Cherokee Creek, you did a test screen, which turned out to be pretty positive. How did you find distribution after that?
Well, I was never going to look for distribution. The reason we did that screening was I wanted to submit to I think it was 5 of the biggest film festivals, including Sundance, the Toronto Film Festival, Slam Dance, all these big festivals that were all, hey, we're all about discovering new talent and blah, 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 right? And some of them were if you're a first-time director, you have a better chance. Well, I don't think any of those people ever watched Cherokee Creek because a lot of them we never heard from. And I'd already spent $500 on submissions. So I started thinking about my past 20 years of being in the business, and I was when I really thought about it, and I interviewed other guys who had done festivals and won awards, I said, hey, you spent that last year doing film festivals. How much did you spend on that? And some of them would be I spent $10,000, $20,000 doing film festivals. And I said, well, did you make any money? Did it really help you? And they're absolutely not. So I was my God, why are we even doing festivals at all then? Because back in the day, when Kevin Smith and, the guys that did that movie or, Robert Rodriguez did El Mariachi, those festivals were kind of about discovering new talent, and they would buy these movies for quite a bit of money and kind of help these guys' careers off. But now the market has changed so much, I was I think we just need to try to make it almost like a rock concert event type thing, and we could have a comedian open up the show, and we could make a red carpet for our fans and take pictures with them and sell merchandise and just make it into this big party environment. So once I kind of got that idea, it was about putting it out on social media to see if anybody was interested. And our first showing of Cherokee Creek sold out within 5 days. So I knew we were on to something. And that theater that we rented was the biggest one they had, and it held 300 people. So we were wow, this is definitely the route to go versus doing film festivals.
Yeah, I mean, it was really positive. I mean, I still remember that one guy that was just yeah, I liked it, and I snuck in, and I'm oh, jeez. And yeah, there was a couple.
Well, I mean, if you see the thing about those screenings is that the thing, and I called them test screenings, but the audience obviously didn't know that. But I was listening to their laughter, and we had people there to report after. We'd go up to do interviews with them afterwards, and just the energy that these people had during the movie. And the laughter, it was never a dull moment in the theater with any of them. And when they came out of there, the smiles on their faces and the energy they had when they were giving their testimonials to the people who were interviewing them, I was wow. It was this movie really did something to these people. They loved this experience that they had. So I at that point, I thought, man, we really have a winner here. So I never really looked for distribution because every time someone wanted to call me about distribution, it was basically they just wanted me to sell 100% of my rights over to them, which I mean, not sell. They wanted me to give them 100% of my rights. So there was never hey, we're going to make this offer to you. They just wanted me to give away my rights, and then there was no guarantee that I'd ever make anything. So whenever I was seeing all the different information about distributor online, they were hey, you pay us X amount of dollars, and we'll get your movie on these platforms for you, and then you can manage how much is sold and how much you sell it for, and then all the money will go to you if any money is actually being earned versus the guys I had been interviewing. Some of them had told me their movie had won all these awards at film festivals, got distribution everywhere, was at Redbox, Walmart, every digital platform, television, and they were telling me they were getting checks as low as $1,000 after a year being out. So that sounded horrendous to me.
And for the record, you guys aren't on Redbox, right? Because it's not really on DVD, right? Or because I don't know if Redbox even had its own digital service. I could be wrong, but I really don't know.
No, actually, Redbox does have a digital service now. They do have an on-demand service, and that is part of the distributor. They do offer that. If you'd like to put it on Redbox online, you can do that. It just wasn't one of the ones I did. I mean, to me, obviously I'm still learning about the digital platforms and what the popular ones are. I just assumed that iTunes and Amazon were the two big ones in the game.
Yes, I would say so for sure. And Voodoo,
But a lot less people have iTunes than I knew. I mean, I know when I was talking to people about it, a lot of people say they don't have iTunes, so that was kind of a shocker to me.
well, yeah, I mean, everything is not for everybody, I guess. I mean, everybody's going to be picky for something, I guess. I mean, you can't win in everybody. I don't know.
Right. iTunes is actually my favorite because I have the Apple TV, and if you have that, you can watch any of the movies that you have on. It has Amazon Prime on it. You get to watch your iTunes. You get to watch Netflix, Hulu, and all that. So I like the Apple TV. To me, it was the best choice. And out of all the digital platforms, iTunes actually takes care of filmmakers better than most of the other ones do.
That's crazy.
Because Amazon, I think Amazon wants 50% for you to put anything on their platform, and iTunes is only asking 30 at the moment.
That's really good. Then, yeah.
Yeah, because 30% is a lot more of a fair thing. Amazon wanting 50% just to put it up on their server is a little ridiculous in my opinion. But we're thankful that we're there. I'm not bitching about the fact that we're there. We're happy to be on Amazon. That's for damn sure.
Yes. And speaking of Amazon, I still remember when I was reading your post and seeing your post about it's finally coming out and stuff, and then afterwards, a friend of mine was telling me about your film that it was pulled from Amazon. So then I was like, what? So of course I went back to your page and I started to read one of the things that you posted about it. I don't remember which one specifically that he sent me, but he sent me one of them, and yeah, and there it was. There was you guys saying like you guys ended up getting. I believe you said it was like an email from Amazon that it was either the day of or the day before, or Christmas Eve or Christmas is when you got told that it was in fact pulled from Amazon. So how did
Actually,
you get that?
we never got an email. What had happened is on Christmas Eve, all the fans. I didn't realize there was going to be this many fans dying to see the movie the second it came out. But there were people that were messaging me probably starting around 11 o'clock, going, "Hey, I'm starting the movie now on iTunes. I'm ordered it on Vudu, and it's got a counter. It says in 3 hours it's going to go on." So for some reason, all the different platforms were releasing the movie at these odd times. It was weird. I kind of got what was going on with iTunes because it was 11 o'clock Central Time, so I figured, okay, it must have been, New York time was midnight, so that's when they released it everywhere. But Vudu, it didn't go on until like 2 o'clock my time. But I was still talking to the fans at that time, and a lot of them were starting to get irritated about Amazon, because it was already past midnight. It wasn't showing up. And around 3 or 4 o'clock, they were still contacting me 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, going, "Hey, how come it's not on Amazon? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. Maybe they're sleeping in, but I can't figure it out." And at that time, it wasn't even on Google Play either, so I was really starting to freak out. And then about 6 o'clock in the morning, it did appear on Google Play, but never did on Amazon. So I had the number to one of the top guys over at Distributor, who's our aggregator. So I started texting him even on Christmas Day going, "Hey, man, I hate to bother you on Christmas, but this is a service that we paid your company for, and I need to know why the movie's not on Amazon." So, of course, he didn't answer till the next day. And a lot of these companies were shut down until like January 3rd or 4th. But he finally answered me on December 26th and said, "Hey, we're going to get on top of it. We'll figure out what's going on with Amazon." And then they finally got a response from Amazon, and the only response they got was offensive content. That's all it said. It said, Cherokee Creek contains offensive content and will not be carried or streamed on Amazon. And that was it. So we never got another answer for the next 30-some-odd days.
That's crazy. Now, you probably heard throughout January, too, there, Todd, that Amazon seems to be targeting indie filmmakers. What do you think about that situation?
I mean, I was irate about the whole thing. I mean, I couldn't have been even more pissed off than I was. I wanted to go and protest Amazon. I was wanting these filmmakers to do stuff, but a lot of people just spent their time talking shit online and didn't do anything. And I was like, guys, you got to do something. Like, get online, get on there and talk. Because if you saw me, I was ranting. A lot of them were scared to get on there and rant, but I mean, you got to get out there. You got to get your voice heard and not be worried about who you offend.
Exactly.
Because I mean, these people, they're controlling your livelihood here. What people don't understand is, you know, you made a deal with Amazon, okay? So Amazon has your movie out there, whatever. If Amazon decides not to carry it anymore, doesn't put it out there, they're going to get your movie somewhere, and that somewhere is a pirated version. That's the other place they're going to go. And you have no way. So at that point, you have no way to make any money. And of course, a lot of fans may think they know something, so they're like, well, just put it on Netflix, or just put it on iTunes, or just put it on this. Well, you can't really do that. We don't have the control to put our movies on these platforms. You have to go through like this long approval process. It took me over 90 days to get on those platforms that I was already on, because I had to go through quality control, and then I had to make sure that they wanted to carry the movie and all that. It's not up to us what platforms we want our movies on. The platform, at the end of the day, they decide if they're going to carry your movie or not. And if a movie's been on Amazon for any limited amount of time, that's going to make it not attractive to someone like Netflix or maybe some of the other platforms. So there's a good chance that those other platforms weren't going to carry these guys' movies. So they basically got 100% screwed over with no way to make any money then. So I can understand their frustration. I mean, you just feel like they just completely cut your head off. I can't even describe the feeling, but it's just like you work so hard to build this thing. It's like building a house almost. Like you're building this house by yourself. You get the house made, and then they just come and just wipe the whole thing out and drive over it with a bulldozer and go, hey, you're fucked. Now you don't have a home. What are you going to do?
Pretty much. Yeah, we actually had a special guest with us for our end of the month discussion episode that just released on Thursday, and his name is J.R. Bookwalter, and he had like 40 films, and
Wow.
recently he just lost 7 of them because Amazon pulled them down. So we talked to him about
he got no answer either, right?
What's that?
He hasn't been able to get an answer while they were pulled either, right?
Exactly. He has not.
I almost think that if all these guys got together, there might be some type of lawsuit for that, because that just doesn't make sense.
See, that's what we were wondering, if there was some sort of lawsuit that these guys can do. So,
I think it is. I mean, I don't know that they can win. And then again, you got to find a lawyer who's going to be willing to take it on, and obviously it gets very expensive. I mean, I don't know how much that could cost to even try to take something on like that, but
we're talking Amazon too. Yeah, we're talking Amazon too. We're talking Amazon too. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're the hugest company in the world right now. So it's like, God, I don't even know how you take them on, but
exactly.
It sucks that they have this much power that they can just walk all over people and nobody has any control. And it's so sad that we're living in a day and age now that everything's handled through computers and emails, that there's really no way to even get in touch with anybody in charge over there, because you don't have an email address to contact anybody. So, I mean, they can basically just destroy your career overnight, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That is correct, and it's really, really sad. Yeah, JR was thinking that somebody would just on the keyboard accidentally pulling these films by mistake is what he thinks, and yeah,
that doesn't sound like a mistake to me. There's just too many. It was just going on too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's something going on, and it would be nice to know if we can actually get a logical answer behind why Amazon seems to be targeting the little guys such as yourself.
Let me ask you a question about this. Now, did they go through aggregators to get their movie on, or did they go straight to it on their own?
Oh man, I want to say he had somebody else put him on. But
it almost sounds like just hearing different bits and pieces of their stories. It could be like, did they actually go through quality control and pass the quality control report, and do they have an aggregator who's handling it for them? I mean, obviously, none of those reasons are an excuse for what happened to any of these people. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do they justify it? Now that they're doing this, are they able to say, well, you didn't go through the proper channels, you didn't go through an aggregator, your movie would have never passed quality control, so now we're deciding we're going to weed out the movies that don't meet a certain quality. I mean, or is it a copyright issue? Like it wasn't copyrighted right? I don't know what the issue is, but no matter what it is, I mean, obviously it's still it's not a good way to do business to just treat people like that.
Oh, 100% agree with that. And no, the only thing I can tell you really is that he was just in the same boat as you. He actually heard on Twitter that this other person who had like 200 films had some of his films get taken down. And so he went back and looked at his account, I guess, or whatever, account, yeah. And he noticed that 7 of his films were pulled. And he did talk about how one actually got pulled down because of something to do with offensive content, but they would never explain what it was either. So
right, and then of course you get those jerks that go, hey, well, why didn't you read the policy rules and regulations and all this crap? But I mean, offensive that's up to the person. I mean, anybody can find something offensive, so that's going to come down to the person who's in control of the quality control over at Amazon. As a filmmaker, we can't guess what someone's going to think is offensive. That's just kind of ridiculous.
That is, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just really interesting and just, I don't know, it's just so weird because, we first heard about it and then people stopped talking about it. So that's why, like JR said, people like us are, still throwing it out there to remind people like, oh yeah, this is still going on. But
yeah, it's definitely going on. And they're just going to have to get louder. I mean, you're going to have to go to bigger, better, the biggest news outlets you can, and if they have to go out and protest and make T-shirts and do whatever and make videos, I mean, you're going to have to do everything you can to talk about it. It's just you're going to have to stay after it. I wasn't going to give up until I got my damn movie on Amazon. That's for sure. And I'm glad that it's on there, and I hope to God it will stay on there. So I don't want to say anything too much that's going to get me kicked off. But hopefully, I can turn things around now that it's on there, because people don't realize when you're, like I said, a lot of people were looking for the movie on Amazon, and when it didn't come out on Amazon, well, that's 30 days of our movie being pirated, so that really sucked for us.
You were also getting messages about offending the Cherokee Indian tribe and other disrespectful things. How did you handle that backlash?
Oh gosh. Well, it didn't really bother me. I just thought they were crazy. I mean, like I said, that people who are offended are just nuts anyway. I don't get that. I'm not from that generation, so I've never, in my rants, I say I've never been offended by any movie. There's not a movie that offends me. A movie is just a work of art, and I'm not gonna, go out and try to ruin someone's life over something that's done in a movie. People should be able to have some type of freedom, creative freedom, and to try to do something. And I don't think most people who are making their movies are trying to maliciously hurt anybody's feelings on purpose. And again, it's just feelings. But yeah, to me, it was just a joke. I mean, I got into it with probably at least 3 or 4 of them on social media, and we ripped into each other for a good while. But I continue to tell them, you're crazy, because the word Cherokee Creek in our movie, in the title of our movie, it's basically about a place in the film. It has nothing to do with the Cherokee tribe whatsoever, and that's not an Indian. It's obviously a Bigfoot. It's not an Indian going around killing people, because I guess some of them were misled to think that was an Indian on the poster, and he was supposed to represent a Cherokee Indian that's a savage that was killing people. But no, I never even thought of anything like that in my wildest dreams. So I had no idea where they were coming from on that one. And I don't normally know where any of these people are coming from.
yeah, exactly. They just come from the underground layer of where the hell did you come from? And yeah, I mean it's
well,
ridiculous.
I mean, it all comes down to that word. I mean, you can call anybody a word, if I call you an asshole, whatever, somebody could try to go dig into that deep and say, well, what did you mean by that when you said the word asshole? Were you trying to go after the gay community? And you're like, what? Everything is, it gets very confusing now. To me, it's just slang words that don't mean anything necessarily.
Oh man.
But whatever. I mean, what's that?
I said you would get a kick out of this then. So there was a news article I read yesterday where this guy was going around, I believe it was some state somewhere, but anyway, he dressed up just like Freezer from Batman, and he would going around saying things like oh, you need to be cool or something, like, pretty much trying to be like pretty much trying to do the pun with the whole winter frozen thing and whatever. Well, anyway, I guess he walked up to this lady that was like wearing too much makeup, and he said something in a way like oh, I guess you gotta be cold because you're wearing too much makeup. So that lady told the news anchor person that she thinks she can probably sue this guy dressed up as Mr. Freeze because he was on her about the whole that she like on the fact that she was wearing too much makeup.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like I said, man, every day I wake up and I'm just like, I try not to watch the news. I'm trying to stay away from that stuff on social media because it's getting to the point it's just going to cause people to have a freaking nervous breakdown. I mean, it's just like it doesn't make sense. It's getting to the point you can't breathe, you can't talk, you can't speak, you can't do anything because everything's offending somebody. It's like the new cool thing to go, hey, I was offended today by this.
That's like the meme that I see where it was like 2000, like we don't give a shit, and then 2018 or whatever year was on the meme, they're like pussies. I get offended.
I liked it back in the day, man. Like if you offended me, I just punched you in the fucking face and we went on about our day. I mean, we'd hash it out, with our fists, and then we'd go on about it. And the next day we were friends again. So I don't really agree with this shit where everybody's so offended and they want to destroy everybody. I'm going to wipe your life out. You're going to lose your job. You offended me. And you're like, what did I do?
Society has become so fake that the truth actually bothers people.
Oh.
What is it that bothers people? I didn't hear that. What was that?
It was, I had said, society has become so fake that the truth actually bothers people.
Oh yeah, you can't do anything anymore. It's ridiculous. I would be scared. I can't even imagine trying to be a comedian in today's age. I wouldn't last 5 minutes, man. I'd get up on stage for about 10 seconds and they'd be coming out to arrest me. I wouldn't make it.
Oh God. But you know that's true though. I mean, what can you now say that won't offend somebody? But oh man,
people get butt hurt so easily.
Yeah, exactly. People get butt hurt so easily.
Are we even allowed to say butt hurt, or is the gay community going to come after us for that as well?
Well, hey,
I just want to know because if it has the word butt or ass in it or any type of sucking, it's referring to the gay community apparently.
Well, I have a gay.
They have taken ownership of it. I'm telling you, dude. I'm like, dude. I worked with gay people in the film industry for 20 years, and man, if we said some bad shit to each other over the last 20 years, and no one was ever offended by any of it. I mean, it was always a jokingly thing, but now it's like, and a lot of my gay friends have seen the movie, and not one of them ever called me to complain about anything we did in the movie. So I just find that's just hilarious to me that those handful were trying to like get the whole thing taken down over a couple words.
Oh man. And yeah, speaking of like going back, speaking of like, as we were talking about with the creatures and stuff at the beginning here, we noticed that your Bigfoot was a very well made practical effect, and especially along with the other props that I'm assuming made or if not ordered to have in your film. So how long did it actually take to create like the Bigfoot and any other type of prop that you had for the film? And the second part of this question is, because you know how it is nowadays with film, what are your thoughts on the whole practical effects versus CGI?
Well, the CGI is great if it's done like the very first Jurassic Park, but as you can tell, after they did that and they set the bar so high, like in Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, I think they realized they spent so much money doing that to make it look realistic, and now today looks like shit. So I'm not a huge fan of CGI. I'm all about practical effects. Always use practical when you can. Even halfway decent practical effects to me look better than the shitty CGI that a lot of people use. What we did with the practical effects in the movie is I brought on an effects team, and the people I hired was Andy Aerosmith was part of that team, and the girl I think that was supposed to be doing it, her name was Shelley. I can't remember her last name, but a lot of the people in town in the Texas area would not touch the movie because once they saw the type of practical effects I wanted, of course they would quit or say they weren't interested because nobody wanted to do those kind of effects. Obviously, you know what they are. So. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't get actors to act in the movie. I couldn't get a crew to work on the movie. I mean, everybody who read the script was running for their lives going, if I make this movie, I'll never work again or my wife will divorce me. That was kind of the thing going. And everybody we talked about even just trying to come up with a Bigfoot wanted a minimum of $10,000 to do the Bigfoot. So my idea was to buy a Halloween costume for about $600 or $700 that looked good. Obviously, the face looked like shit, though. The one I got looked like a chimpanzee, I think. So that wasn't going to work. But finally, this girl, Shelley, brought on this guy, Andy Aerosmith, and her. They were going to do the effects. Now, she worked on the first unit, which was the hunter stuff. And then she kind of just disappeared. So I guess she abandoned the project, but he still stayed on and fulfilled the contract. And he brought his partner on. Her name is Emma Campbell. And I told them what I needed, and they agreed to do all of it. But because of the money restrictions, they were pulling from effects that they had done on other movies, I think. And they also had worked on haunted houses. So I would say, hey, if I want to kill somebody this way, do you have that? They're like, yeah, we got that. So obviously doing the penis thing had to be something new that they had to do. And I wanted them to focus a lot of my money that was going to be spent on making a really kick-ass Bigfoot face. Now, as far as filming that stuff goes, I think we filmed all the Bigfoot face stuff and a lot of the hero shots of the Bigfoot. We had to do that within all, like, one long 12-hour day. I think it was actually a 16-hour day because a lot of that was just getting the makeup on the guy, on the actor. But that was all we had the money for. So I had to film all the hero shots in one night, and then I had to film most of the death scenes that took place at night in another night. So I think that was like a night, maybe a night and a half. But that was where most of our money went, was into the practical effects, and we were just trying to haul ass on those things because we didn't have a lot of money, and I think we still ended up spending between $6,000 and $8,000 on all that stuff.
Well, I'm very impressed with this with the Bigfoot. Before I even saw the film, I saw the picture of the Bigfoot, and I just said, "Wow, now this is a Bigfoot." It's actually really creepy looking. And you don't really see it that much as something that is really creepy, but this one takes the cake. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I was scared of this thing, but, you know, it was nice to see a really interesting portray of a different Bigfoot compared to the other type of Bigfoot film that we have that kind of look like, okay, what?
Yeah, well, my whole thing is and I told everybody, we basically took the Jaws method, you know, like when the shark wasn't working, they just had to come up with other things. So my whole thing was, for the longest time, we didn't know if we were going to have a Bigfoot, if we were ever going to get the damn money to do it, and if we were going to get somebody who was willing to do it. So we were shooting everything around that. So when it came time to do the death scenes, it was like we had already shot everything else. It was like, just tonight we're just shooting death scenes. That's it. And then these people are gone. They're off the movie because we'd already shot everything else. So that was kind of the thing, was to try to make it look the best it could in those 2 or 3 nights that we had to shoot the death scenes. And then, of course, the one night was to just try to capture some of the Bigfoot's face when it looked good. And some of those shots of his face looked amazing. I mean, I was just blown away with them. But as the night goes on, of course, the prosthetics do begin to melt, and he doesn't look as good, and we couldn't do anything about that. But I think the way I shot him, he still looked pretty badass in most of the shots.
So, Todd, what do you think about the physical media out there, like Fangoria? Well, just say like Fangoria, but the horror magazines out there. How are the press actually taking this in for indie films, or especially your film?
Well, the thing that I've unfortunately discovered in this process is You think once you've done the movie and you've gotten these positive reviews and stuff like that, that that's going to be a driving force to help you get the word out about your film. Unfortunately, we've reached out to Dread Central, Bloody Disgusting, Fangoria, and some of the other big ones, and they used to be really, really good about supporting independent filmmakers, and for some reason, they continue to ignore Cherokee Creek, and we don't know why. We don't know what the reason behind that is. My best guess is, and this is only a guess, is that I've noticed that Dread Central now is putting Dread Central Presents on a lot of movies, and they're trying to get into the producing game. Also, Fangoria is also getting into the same type of game. If you noticed that movie, The Puppet Master, I think that was produced by Fangoria. So it seems like they're kind of joining into the producing game and not so much of supporting the up-and-coming independent film directors in film productions like they used to. So as of now, it's been several months. They have not contacted us back. We've emailed them and stuff, wanting them to do a story, but so far nothing. And one of the things you'll learn in this process, unfortunately, is that you got to spend money on publicists to even get those people to perhaps talk to you. I mean, you got to pay someone like, anywhere from $300 to $2,000 to make a phone call or email to them for you in hopes that they will respond. And we just haven't been able to get that response yet. But if you're listening, Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, or Fangoria, please do a story on Cherokee Creek. As you can see, we have a fan base, and our fans are loving the film. Some of you've watched it yourself, I know, because some of you were at our premiere. So support us a little bit and do a story. Help us out.
Wow. And that's pretty sad if they're going to be at your premiere and they can't even write something up for you. Wow. So
yep. So it is sad. Some of those people from some of those magazines were there, and I even got an email that they enjoyed the movie, thought it was great, but they refused to go on record.
Wow. That's just not right. And speaking, and to touch on what you're talking about with the Fangoria Presented, I think it's like what you were talking about with Dread Central. I've noticed too that Fangoria has also put their focus on Shudder, especially with that last drive-in show with Bob there.
Exactly. And how come we're not being discussed on that show?
Right? How come none of the indie horror films really are being discussed? It's got to be, it's always something that we already know. And it's, right. Once again, like, how is people going to know what's really out there if you do not talk about it?
It doesn't make any sense, man. That's one of the things I wanted to do with Cherokee Creek was push the envelope until we broke it. And I took a lot of risk in that movie to make sure that people would talk about it, whether it was the death scenes or the dialogue. I was always taking a chance on whatever we were saying. I knew it was going to be kind of wild, and I knew some of our death scenes were definitely going to be wild and would be talked about. So, we did the exact same thing that they've done in movies in the past, and I don't understand if we're innovating the business the way we are and we're pushing the envelope. Just because we're an independent film and we didn't put a studio label on our movie, that we don't deserve anybody to talk about us or get any kind of press at all. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. I just don't know anymore.
Yeah, man. It's like I said. I think the problem is it's to the point now. It should be at the point if our fans and just fans of movies in general were to go, we don't give a shit what all you people tell us that we're supposed to do. We're going to pick and choose what we like. If we don't want to watch your A-list actor, but we want to watch these no-name actors and they did a great job, we're going to watch them and we're going to support them. Then that would change the whole fucking game up and they wouldn't know what to do. Now, Blumhouse has kind of been doing that with some of their movies. They've been doing some movies where at least I don't know who some of them are. Like Get Out didn't really have that big of names in it, and neither did what was that other one? Happy Death Day. I don't think Happy Death Day had it. I mean, everyone's gonna be like, well, that was that girl from this movie, whatever. I mean, whatever. They didn't have big enough names that I recognized it. So if they can do that, if Blumhouse is able to get those movies out in theaters and do well with them, then there's no reason why they shouldn't be looking at movies like ours.
Exactly.
Or at least give us some kind of chance. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like they're just like, hey, I think the whole thing with the industry is like, these are the rules, okay? When you make a movie, your job is to go get a sales agent and give a percentage of your movie to a sales agent. Then your job is to get a publicist. Then your job is to get a distributor. Then your job is to spend X amount of dollars on this. If you go, no, man, I don't want to do all that. I just want to take my movie to the audience and put it on iTunes and Amazon. They're like, no. What the fuck are you doing? That's not the way this game is supposed to be played. You're taking out all the middlemen. You're taking out the distributors. You're taking out the studio. You know, why aren't you still paying all those people? And you're like, because they're not going to do anything. If they did something, it would be worth paying them, right? But, I mean,
exactly.
How many movies are you looking at? If you go through Amazon and iTunes on a weekly basis, especially iTunes, you're going to see a bunch of movies with even A-list and B-list actors in it that you've never heard of that they won't even market.
That is true.
So if they're not going to market those movies with those B-level actors and A-list actors, why the fuck would they market your movie? They're not going to. They're going to throw your label on the front of your movie on your poster, and then they're going to release it, and you're not going to get any money from the movie at all. They're going to get this huge percentage for putting their logo on your movie, and that's it.
Yep, and that's it from there, really.
But they really didn't like it when I tried to change the game, did they? They're like, nope, you didn't do it right, dude. you didn't put our logo on your movie, so we're going to screw the shit out of you for it.
Oh, geez,
so, that's the way it feels anyway, right?
Nowadays, I don't think anything really should come as a surprising thing anymore.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, look at the stuff we have against us, right? Now that you do an independent horror movie, you got the big players in the game that want their name on your movie as producers or presenting your movie, or they're not going to talk about it. So they're out of it. They're out of the loop. They're not going to help you market your movie. You got Amazon, who may or may not find your content offensive, but you have no idea what that's going to be. So you have no idea what you're supposed to do when you're making the movie, because you don't know if Amazon or the other digital platforms are going to take it or say, nope, this movie was too offensive. We can't show this. YouTube is obviously going to let everybody pirate it, along with all the other pirate apps and websites. No one's going to do anything to them. So you're just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And then social media isn't going to let you send it out to your fans, because they're going to say you're out there spamming them. So it's like, damn, how are we supposed to do this? That's the thing. I'm just calling everybody out on what they're doing. That's all I'm doing. I just have no problem doing it. And I think people need to call these people out for this bullshit. We got to see enough's enough, man. You know, take the business back. Because that's what I'm saying. I don't give a shit about what Fangoria and the rest of them really think. At the end of the day, if my fans like the movie and the fans are buying the movie, then we don't give a shit what they think.
Exactly. And see, that's the problem with critics nowadays, where, you know, a movie, they may not like the film and they'll bash it, but then, you know, you go and watch it, or like someone like me, right, to watch it, and I enjoy it, and I completely don't even agree with what they're saying. It's almost like those type of reviews that we see sometimes. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Todd, but it's the one where these people don't like horror, but yet they got told they had to watch the film and make an article for it.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the problems when anybody reviews Cherokee Creek, and I try to tell people, I made Cherokee Creek to be a midnight movie to be watched in a theater. That was my ultimate goal with the movie. So if you're some critic that's got to watch 10 movies tonight, or whatever, however many movies, 5 movies, you're going to be sitting there watching Cherokee Creek going, man, this movie's too long. When is this going to end? I need to get to the next movie. You know what I'm saying? That's what, because every critic I talk to, every damn critic always says, hey, man, why didn't you cut down Cherokee Creek to 85 minutes? I'm like, so you wanted me to cut out all of this? You wanted me to cut out all the dialogue? I mean, like, what do you want?
Oh, man.
And I love those reviews that come up and they go, oh, man, the movie sucks. It's too long, but it made me laugh. I'm like, well, yeah, if it made you laugh, then it did its job, dumbass. that was the whole point. The movie was supposed to make you laugh for an hour and 52 minutes. That was the whole goal. And in theater, if you're laughing for an hour and 52 minutes with a huge audience of 300 people, it's a hell of a ride, man. So why would you want to cut that out?
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, those people. Oh man. I don't know. Well, look at that one that you were posting about the other day. It was I don't know, the lady one where it was just like, this is disgusting. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. It's just like, oh my god. Did you even watch it?
I don't even know what they're talking about. And then the stupid family rating system saying there's no drug use or alcohol in the movie. I'm like, yes, there is. If you're going to get mad at everything else we did, you might as well get mad about that too.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
just give it red for every damn category, and we'll be fine.
And then it'll make people want to watch it. Oh,
I know what I forgot to tell you. My wife before I came on, she was showing me this thing on Netflix. It's some like black and white Netflix film that's artsy fartsy, and it was nominated for an Oscar. Some dude comes out with a sword, swinging his dick around for like a good several minutes. I don't know what the fuck that was, but I walked in the bedroom and she was watching it before I came on to do your show. I was like, what the fuck is this shit now? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna film that shit with my phone and blur out the guy's cock and go, okay, Oscars, if this is Oscar worthy, why isn't Cherokee Creek? And you know what the answer is? I'm gonna tell you what the answer is. Publicists and money. That's the difference.
Publishers and money.
You gotta have a fucking badass publicist that can go out and go, this movie is an Oscar-nominated movie, even though you watch it and you go, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen.
Oh, you crimers.
I mean, well, just dude, think a few years back, right, when Wolf of Wall Street got nominated. It was basically like soft porn, and I think they set the record for F-bombs in a movie.
Was it that film that set the record? I thought it was Rob Zombie's film that set the record for the F-bomb.
No. Wolf of Wall Street sets the record for the most F-bombs in a movie.
Oh.
Every 30 seconds in Wolf of Wall Street.
Holy crap. Wow.
But hey, man, that was directed by Martin Scorsese, so that's Oscar-worthy.
That's amazing.
Did you know that our actress that plays the camp, I don't know if you watch any of Marty's movies, but I'm not calling Marty like we're friends. Marty Scorsese directed Shutter Island, and she is from Shutter Island.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
The park ranger is from there, and then Billy, the guy that plays Vinny Blades, will be in Alita Battle on February 14th.
Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
How did you go about finding the right location and cast members for your movie?
Oh, wow. The location was a family member that owned that property. They own the property, and it's about, I'm up here in Plano in Texas, which is probably only like 15 minutes north of Dallas. And the location where we shot the movie is about 45 minutes north of Dallas. And he just continued to kept telling me, hey, you know, how come you haven't kicked off your career? He was kind of giving me a hard time, my cousin was, going, hey, we're giving you this property to use, man, so just take advantage of it. You know, but I didn't have a movie idea at that time. The movie idea came later. As far as the cast goes, I knew Billy Blair, and he and I had talked early on that we wanted to do some type of movie together. We just didn't know which one. And it really just came together like a magical thing where it just kept growing. The cast was a lot of just firing people, because a lot of the people that we ended up casting in those roles were probably like the second or third person, you know, to go after that job. You know, a lot of the people that we wanted, our first choices didn't work out, and our second choices didn't work out, which actually ended up being huge blessings for us, because I think the people we got for the movie are the perfect cast members. I don't think we could have gotten a better cast. So it was really a huge blessing that those people, our first and second choices, did not work out for us. I mean, you hear about that in movies all the time. A lot of the people who become famous, it's usually by pure accident. Like even with Harrison Ford was never supposed to star in Star Wars, and he wasn't supposed to star in Indiana Jones. As you know, Tom Selleck had the role.
Right. Yeah, I mean, anything can really happen. So, I mean, it's just a matter of luck, I guess. And
yeah, I mean, we got very blessed with getting the right cast. I mean, just the right people. You know, it could have been like the guy who the guy who takes a dump in the woods. You know, that actor had fell out of the project, and I was basically just looking at different actors' demo reels on actors' websites, and I saw his on the agency website, some commercial work he had done. He had never done any movies, and I was like, man, I'm going to call this guy and see if he'd be, you know, open to do a crazy-ass Bigfoot movie, and he loved the idea, so he was a huge, huge blessing. And my original, the guy that played Jared was actually going to be my nephew playing that part, but then he started college, and he got a job, and he was wanting us to work with the schedule, and I was like, dude, that's just not going to happen. And the kid that I ended up casting in the Jared role, he was coming in reading for other parts that I was filming for studio movies and other movies going around. And I was like, dude, you would be the perfect Jared if you'd like to take a look at this role. So I kind of just cast people based on people I was meeting in different casting sessions for other movies.
No, that's awesome. And
yeah, I mean, it was just by blind luck, man. And the movie that you see up there is totally different than the actual script I wrote, because a lot of times I was changing stuff on the fly, or one scene, for instance, while we were driving to the set, if you know that scene where I do all the camera whip hands back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, right, and all that stuff.
Right.
I wrote that scene with my my assistant that was riding with me to set. I said, hey, man, just start typing. I'm going to start just rattling off stuff, and I need you to type this in on your phone. And when we get there, I'll give it to the cast and let them know that I want to add this additional scene to the shot list tonight. So I just wrote that on the way there, and I knew that the actors all had a limited schedule that night, so I would just shoot 2 of them at a time, and then I'd get them out of there.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's always the best way to do it. I mean, I remember when I had to do my little role in a short film that I helped with here in Vermont. I was in a short horror film called Dead Static, and there's 3 tales based off of real haunted places here in our state. And, you know, the even though it's found footage, but kind of like same thing with him. He was saying, like, there were some times where time was a limit, so you could only do so much. So we had to record this certain part at the right moment and this and that. So yeah, I mean, I kind of know what you mean, like, by limited time to shoot 2 people or however many, just to get them out the door so they can get to whatever they need to do. So yeah, it's fun.
That's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie too. I love the way it worked with those whip hands. It just had such a nice flow to it, and the dialogue I thought was really funny.
Oh yeah. I think that was where Tessa and I were like laughing pretty hard. Yeah, because it worked well.
That's definitely the scene where the park ranger is now sitting with us. We've given her the pot brownies, and now we're going back and forth, and the kid's asking her about Bigfoot, Big Feet, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The money bribe didn't work, so incoming pot brownies and Vinny Blades.
Good job.
Yep, Vinny Blades is there to save the day.
And speaking of some of your actors, even though one is technically a family member, we got your mother, who was a very amazing addition to the kidnapper scene there at near the beginning, with you and Billy trying to kidnap your friend Pat to take him to the bachelorette party in the woods.
That was great. She's like officially one of my favorite older ladies on the planet now.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad you like that. She would love to hear that from you guys.
So
she's so embarrassed by the scene too. It's so funny. She's like, "Oh, the people hate me," and I'm like, "No, they love you, Mom."
We love your mom. She
did awesome. Like, we love you, Todd's mom.
Yeah, we love you, Mr. Jenkins. If that's your last name. If not, I apologize right now.
No, it is. She still goes by Jenkins.
We love you, Mr. Jenkins. Good job. And keep telling those motherfucking son of a bitches to stop it. And
yeah, that's right. Hey, tell them to kiss your ass right in the hole.
There it is, right there. And but how did your mother actually take it? Was she devastated when she was finding out that your film would got pulled from Amazon, and because of that, it was also the possibility of losing funds to help pay for her hospital bills? Because I think you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things. One of the things I haven't really talked about, and I don't tell people, is one of the reasons I wanted to make this movie is it's been since I graduated high school. My mom's been handicapped, so I've had to just constantly work, and it's never one of those things where you're ever caught up. When you're dealing with someone who has medical needs 24/7 or whatever, you're always going to be in a financial hole. I don't care how much money you make. So it was one of those things where I thought, man, if I could come up with this great idea to make this movie, it would finally eliminate some of the financial burden that she's having. So it was to make this movie was really to do that. And even our cat Jinx is a special needs cat. If he doesn't have the right medication every 12 hours, he dies. I mean, that's just the way it is. He goes into congestive heart failure and he'll die. And if he does go into congestive heart failure, to bring him back to life is $3,000. So as soon as you run him over to any emergency clinic, they're like, their first words out of their mouth is always, "We're going to go ahead and put your cat down. Is that going to be okay with you?" And you're like, "No, I want you to save him." And they're like, "Well, that's going to be $3,000 right now. You pay us now, or he's gonna die." That's all there is to it. So I'm constantly dealing with my mom's medical needs along with my cat's medical needs. And I thought, man, if I make this movie and I can make this successful, I think that this will help eliminate some of our financial problems. So unfortunately, it hasn't as of yet. And when Amazon took us off, it was like, man, you know. And of course, I go and take care of my mom every day, and I bring her food and stuff. And as you saw the video she did recently, I was over there and I keep her up to date on what's going on. And I was telling her, I was like, man, you know, it's just still not fucking working out with Amazon. I mean, we're still dealing with this shit. And she just went on this little rant. And I said, you know what? I'm going to film that rant. So you say it again, but say it to camera this time. So I thought that was pretty wild and crazy that she did that. But it definitely got some views, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, because, you know, we're talking, like you said, a handicapped lady who is in need of, like, you know, medical attention, really, or any type of appointment in the future, and you know that adds up, and it's a hellhole, really, and it'd be nice to get some type of fund. So yeah, I mean,
right. Here's the thing that really pisses me off. We're not one of these kind of people. You know how the people go out there and they do these GoFundMe things and they do all that. We were like, no, we're going to make a movie. So all we're going to ask is that you buy the damn movie or rent it. We're not asking you to give us money for nothing. Because you know how everybody's like, oh, I'm going to go do a GoFundMe account for this, that, and the other. I was like, well, my mom's kind of too proud to do that kind of stuff. So I was like, we'll just go out, we'll make a kick-ass movie, and we'll earn it. You know, we'll earn the money. But then you come out to find out, you know, that everybody wants to pirate it, and you're like, wow, these people just don't give a shit about other human beings, do they?
No, they don't. And that's why, for the record, I'm just going to put Mrs. Jenkins, just so you know, that I am one of the people of, I don't know how many, to actually purchase Cherokee Creek on Amazon, and I rented it on iTunes. So
there you go. Awesome,
there you go.
Man. We thank you for that. We thank you for that so much. Well, I think that we've got to bring that to the forefront too, because people just don't give a shit about piracy. It was talked about for a little while, but now that it's had an effect on artists, you know, its long-term effect is that we're getting shitty movies and we're getting shitty music. I mean, that's what's happening. You know, you're not getting any new stuff. Because if you go back and you look at when all these people became who they were, right? All the directors who are today these huge directors, they all started out doing low-budget independent films. Even James Cameron got fired off of Piranha 2 before he was able to do Terminator. But even Terminator was a low-budget independent film. So if you were to take those movies then and apply it to today's market, they would have went bankrupt. They wouldn't have been able to make it. They would have never went on to become these huge star directors that they are, because, you know, society would have bankrupted them. They would have had no way to make it.
And that's why we throw in questions like this. And I'll ask you, Todd, Do you think films like Alien or Texas Chainsaw or maybe one of the other known older classics like The Exorcist, do you believe that if they were not made when they were made, but were made in this generation, do you think they would have became as big as they are today?
Oh, no way. There's no way. Exorcist wouldn't even come out at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, as we talk, I mean, this generation now is offended by everything, and they get butthurt about everything, and they want to control creative freedom. And I think that's ridiculous. Everything that we're doing as a society right now makes no sense to me. It's like we're destroying these creative artists, and we're handicapping people like myself from ever being able to grow. Because right now, I mean, I think if my movie came out 15 years ago, it would be a much bigger hit than it is right now. Because right now, they're doing everything they can to keep me out of it, because everyone's like, well, yeah, today you have all these avenues so people can find out about you. But it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but the problem is the market is oversaturated with these avenues. It's oversaturated with crappy movies, so it's even harder to stand out, and it's even harder to get paid when you do something good.
Exactly. And and I think you stated it on a video or a post or something that you truly believe that if things don't pick up with this film, that you think that Cherokee Creek is going to be your only film that you're going to make.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would I want to go through another several years of hell to make something and put all my blood, sweat, and tears? So what people don't understand is anybody who's an artist, whether you're a musician, actor, director, whatever, when you choose that life, that pretty much means you're not going to have a family. Your marriage is going to suffer. You're not going to spend time with your family. I don't care what they say. It's what happens. I mean, it just happens. That's why there's so many divorces and all that stuff, because you can't just half-ass it. You can't go, well, I'm going to half-ass this. And if you're putting your work into making a movie awesome, you're going to be at the studio working on it so much that, unfortunately, your marriage is going to suffer. All these things are suffering. And that's okay if you're going to get rewarded for it at some point. Your marriage and your wife or whatever's got to think, okay, well, we're going to go through this hell for these 2 or 3 years, but at the end, we're going to get something out of it financially, so we can use that to build on and build a better life. But if you're like, no, you're going to destroy your life, you're going to destroy your marriage, and you're going to be bankrupt at the end of this, then why the hell would you do it again? You wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you said. I mean, you got to put if you're gonna put another blood, sweat, and tears and everything else into another work just to get it pirated and everything else. It's just not worth the headache and nightmare to create.
Yeah, I mean, why would you do it? I mean, like you could literally go make, as sad as it is, you could go make more money waiting tables at a Red Lobster for the weekend than this movie could possibly make. That's how sad it is.
Yeah.
What's
That's
next?
what people don't realize. That's how sad it is. You could literally go wait tables at a Red Lobster and make more money over the weekend than all these people who were involved in this project, who worked on it all this time, will ever see.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why I'm hoping to God a miracle will happen. We'll turn it around at some point. The fans will continue to talk. I mean, we got at least, I would say, there's at least 150, 200 really diehard fans, but that's because I told you those other 15,000 don't even know the movie's out. So if all 15,000 people were to rent or buy the movie would be in the green. Everybody who worked on it would get paid. The investment would be paid back. And then, of course, we could have a chance to make another movie. But, we don't know if that's ever going to happen. And that's just the fans that say they're fans, That's not counting if it actually gets spread out to more people, which it should. It should. Word of mouth should carry it on even further, but we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, there's no rhyme or reason behind ever wanting to do a movie again if you can't even make a few $100s off of it.
So what's next for Cherokee Creek? Will there be physical copies? And could you possibly see doing a Cherokee Creek Part 2?
Well, to answer your first question on the physical media, there is some companies out there who have been sending us emails wanting to talk to us. We are entertaining their contracts. We've got lawyers looking at their contracts. But even then, I mean, you're still talking about most companies to get it professionally done. But we're not going to do like a homemade Blu-ray or DVD. We're going to go all out if we're going to do it. We're going to do it right. You'd probably have to do a minimum order of 1,000. Blu-rays, and we'd have to do it right. I'd have to go produce the content that you guys are going to want to see, extra content, so it's something different than just the movie. I'd like to put some deleted scenes and some other special features on there, and, that's going to take time. So it could be, if we can get a deal going, it could be 3 months down the road. I don't know, but even that deal is going to cost $4,000 to $6,000 to get something like that going. So again, you're asking yourself, do I want to spend $4,000 to $6,000 on something that might make $100 return? I mean, we don't know. We don't know who's going to buy it or what's going to happen with it if we make a Blu-ray.
That is true. And, I figured since we're talking so much about, the hurtful things of what Amazon had done within this month of not having it on there, because, you had everything out and you barely got on YouTube, I believe, right before it came on Amazon, or put back on Amazon, I should say. So, I mean, and I hear YouTube charges like some type of fee or something too, that before you can even put your movie on there. And
basically what happens is if you go through Google Play, they're both owned by the same company. So Google owns Google Play and YouTube. So if it's on one, it's on the other.
I keep forgetting that Google Play.
I didn't actually sign a deal with YouTube. It's just we did a deal with Google Play, so it automatically showed up on YouTube. But the problem we have with YouTube is they're allowing all these countries to pirate it, and then when we try to tell them to take it down, they make it really, really difficult to try to take it down. They don't want to take it down, which makes no sense because they're selling it and get at least 50% of it, I think. So why wouldn't they take it down?
Right? Yeah, and see, that once again goes back to what we were talking about, where, why would we want to go through another nightmare just to have this happen to us? So,
what we need to do is educate fans. I mean, it's really going to come down to educating fans, going, hey, if you want to say fuck you to these piece of shit, same old, remakes over and over that the studios keep making, and I have no problem if you like the remakes; they're still fun. If you want to support those, but if you want to support other filmmakers, you're going to have to spend $4 or $10, which is really nothing. You're spending nothing to support, an independent artist who busted his ass to deliver. If I made a shitty movie for you and you thought it sucked, that's fine and dandy if you don't want to buy it. But we busted our ass, and to compete on a studio level with a handful of people and a handful, of money, we had to do what they do with thousands of people and hundreds of millions of dollars. We didn't have any of that stuff. But we're still expected to compete at that same level. When they watch our movie, they want to bitch and complain that it's not at a studio level. But we're like, dude, we don't have studio money. How could you expect it to be that way? But I think Cherokee Creek does play like an old studio movie, like of the 80s. I think it plays very well as like a Friday the 13th or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got that nice, I guess this is going to be the pun, really, but, it's got that nice campy feel to it, which, they are literally camping, but, I mean, it's a nice throwback because, that's where all the cool horror films back in the day was in the woods. You see these dumb people partying, and then they get into trouble and get killed off one by one, and, it's a grand old good time. But at least with Cherokee Creek here, though, not only do you have the, the horror aspect, really, but you got a nice comedy flow with it as well.
Right. Well, I think the thing with Cherokee Creek is it's definitely very raunchy, very comedy. And the reason where the horror comes in, which is it's not your normal horror film, because a lot of times, the people and the characters in the movie know, hey, this is a bad thing and it's coming after us. In Cherokee Creek, they don't really know that it's coming after them until it's too late, because, as you know, without giving any spoilers, there are some things going on within the story that they don't expect that to be happening. So, so
Exactly.
to them, when it does happen, it's like, holy shit, where'd this come from? So it's not like they don't really have time to react like they would if it was a Freddy or if it was a Jason or Michael Myers, where there is a killer on the loose and we're trying to fight that killer. Like, they don't know that there's an actual Sasquatch out there killing people for pissing and shitting and fornicating in the woods.
Yeah, and without saying too much, all I'm going to say is that scene with you, that just goes to show that your character did not know about the real thing. And that's all I'm going to say.
No, my character in the movie definitely did not believe in Sasquatch.
No. No.
But he does now.
Yeah.
You damn well better believe that Jinx believes in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know. Some of those characters may come back in a Cherokee Creek 2 if there ever is one. But yeah, I mean, dude, the whole thing, and what I'm trying to say about this independent film and independent film in general is the fans have, if fans want independent film, then all they have to do is support it. I mean, it's that easy. It's not that hard to support independent films.
Exactly.
And if you think $4, I mean, my God, I've given $5 to bums on the street to buy them a hamburger when I didn't even have the damn money to give it to them. So, I mean, most people can afford $4 or $5 if they give up a cup of coffee or that drink after work. Just do whatever it takes to buy the damn movie once. It's not going to kill you. And we've done the homework for you. I mean, we put all the videos out to show you that the audience reactions are there. They loved it. There's hundreds of reviews on IMDb and on the other websites saying that the fans are loving it. So, you're not really going to take too much of a chance to rent this movie and you're going to get a piece of shit, because a lot of people are giving it 9s and 10s, which I've been blown away with. I would be fine with even a 6 or 7 rating. I don't think I would score the movie a 10, but I'm happy that people are.
Right, I completely agree. And to touch on independent films and stuff, and for this final question, Todd, I'll state the question, and then afterward, feel free to plug in where we can watch Cherokee Creek and keep up to date with everything, and if not all Cherokee Creek stuff. But your final question is, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that is about to start a indie film?
Man, you're asking the wrong guy. Run for the hills, brother. You're hell-bent on doing it, and you're going to do it no matter what happens. Try not to do what I did. Don't bet the farm on it. That's for sure. I definitely spent way too much money and too much time and a lot of sacrifices I wish I had back that I will never get back. I unfortunately had loved ones die in the process of making a movie that I didn't get to spend time with because I was doing the movie, and then a lot of them I didn't even make it to their funerals because I was broke. I had put every cent I had in the movie, so I couldn't get a flight or couldn't get to the funerals. So yeah, that part sucks. But you got to be super, super careful. I can only speak from what I've learned about this process, and that is, don't release it if you don't have to. For me, and if you're gonna do anything with a movie, make sure that you take risks, and it is going to be something different, and it's going to be not the same old shit that you see every day. Make sure it's going to entertain your audience. So do something bold. For us, the theatrical release obviously was the highlight of Cherokee Creek. The 4 theatrical releases that we did, the screenings, were all amazing. And if I could take it back and go back now, I definitely would not have released the movie on digital at all. Releasing it on digital and putting it out for everybody in the world to see was definitely our worst decision, because that just made it so we have no chance of making any money, at least not yet at this point. But please support the movie, guys. I mean, we were hearing how many people love Cherokee Creek. You can keep up with it on Facebook under Cherokee Creek Movie, Instagram Cherokee Creek Movie also. We're getting a Twitter page started. I don't remember the name of that, but we're slowly building that. And now it's available on Amazon, iTunes, Vudu, Google Play, and the paid version of YouTube if you want to check out Cherokee Creek there. And in the future months, we're going to hope to figure out a way to get some type of physical media out there. If you do want a Blu-ray to come out, please at least spend the money, the $4 to rent the movie, to make sure you want to buy the Blu-ray. So if we go out and spend another $4,000 to $6,000 making something like that for you, that you will want to purchase that, and that will help us out as well. I think that's it for me, brother.
All right, Todd. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed talking with us as well. And just to throw it out there, you're always welcome back to come back and speak your mind with us on anything, really, even if it's not just to talk about Cherokee Creek, but if you want to talk about other things horror related, feel free to always come back on to talk with us. And thank you so much again for your time. I mean, it was definitely an honor to talk to you. And once again, I'll say,
thanks, man.
Yeah,
I hope I didn't bring your audience down too much, but man, I'm just trying to get to, we're dealing with a serious subject here when we're dealing with, what happened with this Amazon situation and the piracy. I mean, this shit is real, and it is destroying filmmakers and filmmakers' lives. And a lot of people, they go out and they take out loans, and they do a lot. I mean, on this movie, I've got credit card debt that I have no idea how I'm going to pay back. So it is real, man. The struggle is real.
Yes, it is. And one more time, I think from Tessa and I, we will once again say, we love you, Mrs. Jenkins. Good job.
You did an awesome job,
Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins.
And what's your cat name again? Jinx?
Yes.
Good job, Jinx. Go claw their faces off. Do it now.
Good kitty.
Good kitty. And yeah, so once again, Todd, thank you so much.
I was looking to see if he was hearing you. He's asleep. Jinx is like, I'm taking a cat nap. I'm all right.
He's like, I'm loving this. But yes, for everybody listening, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, we didn't overcrowd your listening ears, I guess. I don't know. But
overcrowd.
Yeah. And
we hope to have educated you some and not killed you with too much negativity, but we were just trying to keep it real.
Oh, we're always keeping it real here at the Everything Horror Podcast.
But hey, man, at the end of the day, you know what? We're going to fight back, and with people like you guys helping us, I mean, it makes it worth it. We don't know what's going to happen with this. The future, I still have high hopes for the movie. People keep asking me what ultimately would be great. I'm like, if the thing takes off on if it takes off on the digital platforms, maybe we could get it on Showtime. That would be great for us. Get it on physical media. And then, maybe have theaters around the country do some midnight showings of it. It would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would be cool to do like select cities and stuff. They're really getting it out there as well. And, I know we can't do the film festival route because it doesn't qualify really. In that thing. Yeah, exactly. So, it doesn't qualify for that. But, yeah. So, once again, I'll say it too. Support this fucking movie. Just do it now. Don't be pussy about it.
Independent film, period. If you hear an independent movie is badass and it's getting good reviews, take the fucking time to check it out and pay for it.
That's right. That's right. Because if you want another, the only way you're going to see another is by supporting the movie.
That's right. If you guys want to see another Quentin Tarantino, because once Tarantino's done, he's done, and he's already said he's only going to do 10 films, and then he's out of the game. So if you want guys who are going to push the envelope and do different stuff, who aren't just these puppets for the studios, you're going to have to support these independent film guys, because once they're all gone, that's it, man. Then you're just going to be getting the same cookie-cutter BS that you're seeing right now.
Exactly. And on that note, thank you so much. And as always, people, stay scary.